And begin. The purpose of this presentation is to gloss over the last semester of Intro to Entrepreneurship. Although in no particular order, I will be touching on the topics that I found to be most relevant and impactful. Then I will explain how we applied the concepts in the class or how I plan to apply them in my own life. Now then, Intro to Entrepreneurship was a journey into discovering the entrepreneurial process. Our textbook introduces us to the concepts like creating and developing opportunities, developing networks and building teams, and acting with an entrepreneurial mindset. Then, in class, through interactive activities, we expanded our understanding of these concepts. Early in the year, we learned about building our business model, which is how a business creates, delivers, and captures value. That is to say, how a company can benefit its customers through its products and services while being profitable. An example of this is going to be Etsy. Etsy is a functions as a marketplace for artists to access a large clientele of art consumers. This is how Etsy creates, delivers, and captures value. Now then, in our first pitch group, we had to find a way to create, deliver, and capture value concerning campus food waste. However, the big problem was, where do you even start? Well, first off, the problem's going to be huge. Not to mention, how do you turn a profit on garbage, short of owning the dump and dumping it there? Next, in class, we learned a few different strategies to spot these opportunities to create and capture value, specifically in this case, analytical strategies. This is where you break the problem or issue down so that it's easier to examine critically. By breaking down the problem of food waste, you are better able to come to a consensus on either reduction or, as we hoped, total elimination of campus food waste. Now, during our first pitch, not only did we use analytical strategies to break the problem of KSU's food waste down, we had to use design thinking to create a viable and profitable solution to reduce the amount of waste our college produced every single year. My group came to the idea that we could compost the wasted food products into usable fertilizer, while others thought of decomposing packaging and other options. Now then, becoming an entrepreneur requires a growth mindset rather than a fixed one. A growth mindset is characterized by one's belief that their skills and abilities are fluid and can be improved upon with practice and exercise. Meanwhile, someone with a fixed mindset would be the opposite. They believe that their skills and abilities have a hard set limit, that they cannot improve beyond a certain point. Now, practicing and growing my own growth mindset has been really difficult, but I have put it to work at my jobs, academics, and eventually I'm going to put it towards running my own business. Specifically, the growth mindset for me is even though I'm exhausted, giving it my all until it's all done, whether it be homework, exercise, or my job. Now then, networking. The next is networking, developing networks and building teams. This is a foundational skill set because who you know really can be as important as what you know. A network of peers allows you to access more experience and work more effectively than you ever could on your own. Now, we're going to be touching on this in a moment with more specific examples in 3, 2, 1. Anyway, a great example is the personal stories Mrs. Jackson provided of her own business, where at times her local network of fellow shop owners helped her fill gaps in her inventory to successfully fulfill orders. Now, another example is when she talked about having her friends and family come out to help her around the shop. You could really say that her network helped her to blossom. I know my puns are bad. Anyway, the failure spectrum is the list of different ways that in degrees an entrepreneur can fail, whether that can be from inattention, deviance, or lack of ability. Now, there are many ways to fail, but not all of them are catastrophic game changers. To be honest, sometimes failure only means that you need to change your outlook on life, to really just pivot your business. Now then, failure is close to me. Anticipating failure has really struck a chord with me because of the multiple entrepreneurs in my life. For starters, this year has been a really hard struggle for my aunt with the COVID-19 pandemic and her doggy daycare. And my own grandfather's former business has started to go under as well. Both of these have been outside of their control, but we have to understand to anticipate the worst at times. Now then, learning about crowdfunding and the patronage, lending, reward-based, and investor models was really interesting, partially due to the idea of collecting capital like this is becoming more and more popular in the face of traditional financing. In recent decades, the invention of the internet paired with crowdfunding has made some amazing businesses possible. Now then, crowdfunding, as previously mentioned, has brought about amazing products and services. One of my favorite is Life Water, which raised $55,000 to bring their portable water purification system to market. The product takes the form of a straw that can make most bodies of water potable or drinkable. Another amazing startup is Ethereum, another blockchain currency similar to Bitcoin. Now then, the next standout was marketing segment of the course. Social media is arguably the future of marketing. The nature of social media lends itself to through direct customer contact, and tools like social mentions make any kind of older model of marketing totally obsolete. In my life, I've seen multiple companies rise and fall through their use of social media. Now then, as previously mentioned, I've seen multiple companies rise and fall through their social media. A notable example is Lewis Morgan and Ben Francis. They used influencers to develop a loyal fan base through authentic interaction with their fans for their company Gymshark. Personally, I've been coming back to Gymshark from brand loyalty alone for at least the last 7 years. Another example of a piece of knowledge I'll be taking with me is the pitch deck, making a clean, precise, and calculated presentation about my future company plans with key information like total market availability, competitor analysis, and traction. I dig into these three in particular because sometimes we overestimate reach, focus on ourselves a little bit too much, and forget to mention what we have on the competition, and honestly forget to show what we have done to get where we are today. Now, the public speaking portion of the course is also really insightful. I'll be taking with me the following tips. Practice, but don't memorize. Pay attention to time limits. This is pretty topical for this one. Don't hold anything in your hands. Keep them free. And vary your tone to keep it interesting. Don't be a robot. Now then, due to my job in sales, every single day involves public speaking of some kind. Whether it's selling someone a new phone or changing a plan, I need to be able to construct a cohesive sales pitch. The pitch deck has helped me quite a bit because instead of sticking to the script, I'm more fluid now. I'm a little bit more mindful of my fidgeting, and I'm less likely to pace. Instead, I dynamically move around the sales floor. Now then, in closing, these are just some of the standout concepts that stuck with me from the last semester. I really enjoyed entrepreneurship and the class, and I would recommend that anyone at KSU, regardless of their major, give entrepreneurship a shot. Thank you so much for listening. As Porky Pig says, that's all, folks.